I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive.
2024 Honda Civic.
2024 Mazda 3.
These are two of the most popular affordable sedans that are also available in hatchbacks, so we're going to compare them because everyone wants to save some money these days. So that's why we got the affordable ones, but in the highest trims.
So I think we should start off with the thing we like to start it off with. Ready? Look, look, look. I got the jump. I got the jump in the Mazda.
Go Civic. It's starting there. Come on, Turbo.
Monica!
You never had your car! So they're not the fastest, but they're also not the slowest.
Well, let's start off with the horsepower and torque.
This Honda has 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque from a 1.5-liter turbo four-cylinder. And that Mazda 3 has 191 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque from a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder.
Seems like the Civic gets you at the end with that turbo.
And this Civic also has a CVT. Combined with that turbo, it just feels like a literal slingshot. And you've got a 6-speed automatic with no turbo, so you're not really waiting for anything over there.
Yeah, but this one does actually have all-wheel drive. If this was just front-wheel drive, maybe it'd be a little bit lighter and maybe able to catch up. And then in this one, you can also get a bigger turbo motor, which you can kind of get better motors in Civics as well, but then you're in the SI and Type R with manual only.
And that's the coolest part of this comparison because they're priced nearly identically, but you do get the advantage of having the option of all-wheel drive on that Mazda 3, where you can't get all-wheel drive on the Civic.
So if you're looking for either of these, go to tsp.truecar.com.
Discounted price offers, you can get a sedan, you can get a hatchback, you might even be able to get a better deal on that Mazda 3.
And sorry to our American viewers, it's Mazda in America, Mazda in Canada. Here's the clip of it.
The 2024 Mazda CX-90.
The Mazda CX-90.
I'm sorry.
So if you are trying to save some money, let's get to fuel economy, Yuri. That Mazda, 7.9 liters per 100 kilometers combined, and this Honda, 6.9 liters per 100 kilometers combined.
I can see that making sense with an all-wheel drive system.
Yeah, so if you do want to save the most gas, you're going to have to go with the Civic.
What if you need more room inside the car for sitting? Obviously the Mazda, right?
Well, that's not obvious here. This Honda, the packaging on this thing is unreal. There is so much interior space for me at 6'1.5". I love sitting up front. In the back, I even love it. You could pass this off as an Uber, no problem, and even trunk space is more than that Mazda.
Yeah, Mazda's got a little bit less room. I guess it's for smaller statured people, so a 5'8", like I fit great everywhere. I've got a reverse-facing child seat back there, and I don't think there'd be much room for someone sitting in front, so if you did have that as well, Civic would probably be a better option. But here's something where the Mazda wins. I think it looks better.
Ooh, that's a tough one. All right, let's get to it. Front end, I do like the headlights on the Mazda, except you can't have just the DRLs, aka like the cool circle LEDs, when you're driving around. Mazda forces the projector lights to be on.
Taillights, we got cool circles in the back of the Mazda.
Yeah, I think overall lighting, the Mazda gets a win, but overall looks, to me, I think the Civic just looks a little bit better.
Okay, which one sounds better from the outside?
Let's take a listen.
I definitely think the Mazda wins this one, even though I like the sound of Civics, especially when they're missing mufflers.
Yeah, there's no crazy VTEC crossover on this thing.
Okay, wheels. I think they're both all right, and they both match the cars perfectly, but none of them really stand out, do they?
The Civics stand out a little bit more to me. I'm going to give the win to the Civic. The Mazdas, while they don't look bad, they're also nothing special, but thankfully they're not black.
And what would be the Continental recommended tire for a Mazda and a Civic?
On this foggy day in the winter, the Viking Contact 7, or throughout the year, the Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus.
I tell you what, the film car with Viking Contact 7s today felt a lot better than either of these cars.
It did. That Bugatti handled incredibly well today.
Yes, the Bugatti GTI two-door with the Golf R taillights.
It's from the same family.
And then body lines, do you like the chiseled body line of the Civic or the smooth body line of the Mazda?
No, I'm with the Civic on this one. The Mazda thing just never really did it for me. It's just like a little too smooth and buttery.
As a red CX-5 owner, it was lovely to see a red Mazda 3 in my driveway all week.
Yeah, Crystal Soul Red Metallic or whatever. That's an optional paint. And for some reason, this white is also an optional paint color.
Yeah, I think Mazda wins for paint. But then other features, we both have like proximity touch on the door handles, so that's really nice. You can remote start the Civic from the key fob, but this, you need the app to do that. And then funny enough, the key fob died on this Mazda. I guess the battery is toasting it, so I need to like manually do it every time and put it up against the start engine thing to start it. And that was actually a problem when I got my own personal CX-5. They had to come back and forth and like replace my key fob battery 3 times.
And then your remote start is also a trial subscription that you have to pay for, I think, after 2 years?
Yeah, or whatever, you have to link it to the app where the Civic should theoretically always work, which is way nicer.
Win for the Civic. So I actually want to get to ride quality between these two because we've always loved the Civic and it is so comfortable in this trim. This is the top touring trim. That Mazda also very comfortable, but noticeably just a little bit stiffer, but not uncomfortable at all.
It's got the rear torsion beam, which a lot of people are worked up about, but for the most part, like they are on par-ish.
And this has multi-link rear suspension in the Honda, and we are on the way to Cliche Corner to assess the handling, although it is a little bit moist outside, so a little slippery today.
It's a slick day.
But what I've noticed right away is that all the inputs on the Honda, the steering, the brakes, the gas, everything seems to be kind of on edge where it really makes it feel like the car's a little bit faster, a little nimbler. That Mazda just feels like it's been dialed down a little bit, which I didn't expect because Mazdas typically prioritize handling and all that stuff. So it just felt a little bit different to me.
Yeah, the brake pedal feels weirder on the Mazda. It's more linear throughout, and so is the gas, where I think the Civic, it's a little more like bitey, a little more exponential gains to everything.
And Mazda likes to do all this trickery with their trying to keep your head level and all this suspension stuff and engine braking. This has G-vectoring, all-wheel drive plus, whatever that's called. Basically, it's like a really fancy torque vectoring system through the brakes and through the engine, where the Civic has, I think it's called Agile Handling Assist, which is basically just brake torque vectoring as well.
Okay, let's move on to the inside and talk about some more features on the way to Cliche. Seat comfort and nice amenities. The Mazda has a nice seat. It's got lumbar forward and back, and I have presets in here.
The Civic in top touring trim does not have presets, does not have lumbar, but the seat is very, very comfortable to the point that I don't feel like I need lumbar, but seat presets would be really nice.
Regular shifter in each.
Yep, big old shifter.
Both have paddles.
Yes, they do. Mine control fake gears with the CVT, and yours are real ones.
And then Mazda gets the win with a digital and analog gauge cluster combination.
Ooh, a win? I don't know about that. It is kind of Porsche 911 inspired, but this Honda has a full digital gauge that you can't really customize too much, but it is nice.
One thing I learned to love about Mazdas is that on the dial, there's a red line where the speed limit is that reads it off the signs, and I really, really enjoy using that to like stay around there so I know I'm not speeding. And this also has a head-up display to show you a lot of information while you're driving too.
And this Civic, just like most cars that show the speed limit, also has that red dot, but no head-up display on this one.
And then as for adaptive cruise and lane centering, they both have it. I think Mazda asks you to put your hand on the wheel a little bit more. I think the Civic is better for that.
The Civic also does make you put your hand on the wheel a lot, but the lane centering is quite good.
Okay, climate controls. All hard buttons or what?
All hard buttons, got nice shiny silver knobs, and I know you do too, and they all work flawlessly. Love it.
Check this out. This is how fast it takes me to turn on my heated seat and heated steering wheel. Done.
Wow, it's pretty quick. Now I'll do mine.
Oh,
There.
2 hands? Wow, engineers, you blew it there. Okay, the best part about this Mazda over the Civic. The Mazda has a super high-res 360 camera, which is not available at all on the Honda, and this one even has predictive lines for parking.
And this just has a backup camera in lower resolution, which is good enough for me.
Yeah, I just love 360 cameras, you know, like the windows are, I posted on my Instagram, Yuri Tereshin, Jacob responded on It's Really Jacob. My windows were all frozen over, and I used my 360 camera to get this out of the driveway, no problem, so I could take my other car. It was great.
And for some reason, Honda did not provide a snow brush, so I had to use my fingers to scrape the window.
Cup holders. Mine are in front of the shifter in a Mazda, which is great because it used to not do that. It used to be in an awkward spot, and it holds small cups just great.
If I put my shifter into drive, then my cup holder is directly beside the shifter. It's actually in a perfect resting position for my elbow, so I actually give this a full pass.
And then the visors.
Ooh, I know this one's gonna pass.
3, 2, 1.
Full pass.
Oh, full pass, right? Full
No,
pass,
that's
right?
a fail, bruh.
Okay, and I'm not really here to defend Mazda, but I have a Mazda, so I like Mazda. So that might be why it seems like I'm defending it a little bit more than I should be.
Objection, Your Honor. Biased.
Yeah, this is not car review court.
Biased witness.
Okay, now a very controversial subject. Infotainment. Mazda has the one with the rotary dial, and you can't touch it while you're driving unless you're only in CarPlay. You have to turn that setting on, and this has wired or wireless CarPlay.
And the Civic infotainment is lovely to use, wired or wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We've got buttons along the side. I really like it.
Yeah, the Civic is touch, which is normal style, no rotary controller, but because this is rotary controller, we have a lot more buttons for shortcuts. Like if I hold my home button, it'll toggle between CarPlay and home, and this has Tune Mix for SiriusXM and all that stuff. I am very used to it. It takes a while to get used to it, but once you do, I think it's better. And most people don't agree.
And the sound system's actually pretty good in the Honda as well, but I think the Mazda's probably a little bit better.
Yeah, we got that cool Bose system. You know where they put stuff indoors? They showed us that 3D thing at the Mazda 3 launch like 7 years ago or whatever it was. Maybe 5.
That was cool.
Okay, both got little sunroofs. That's nice. No moonroof option. Don't mind it at all.
And we both do have gloss black in here. However, in the Civic, it's kind of up at the top. I feel like it's probably a little bit easier to clean and it's not going to get as dirty, whereas in the Mazda, it's down at the bottom and it's probably just going to get really scratched up.
As a Mazda CX-5 piano black interior owner, I don't clean it at all and I don't care. So real world, real case scenario.
Filthy, disgusting human.
Yeah, you should see what my kid does to the car too.
And overall interior quality and materials, the Civic actually has real leather apparently, and the Mazda has leatherette.
Nice, yeah, that doesn't really matter to me, but I'm sure it matters to some people. And then if we look at our floors, we've got the cool upgraded Mazda floor mats that are nicer than normal floor mats. What does the Civic have?
The Civic's just got regular old mats, and big shout out to TuxMat for supporting our channel for the last year.
Hit up the link, it should still work.
So let's slap these bad boys into sport mode and send it through Cliche Corner.
All right, easy into the first corner because it's slippery dippery.
Oh yeah, it is understeer city over here, holy.
Yeah. Plowzilla.
I feel like your all-wheel drive system has very little advantage today.
Yeah, it seemed like it did a lot better all week while I was driving it and it was dry.
I kept up with you pretty much no problem through there.
When I was doing some of the normal on-ramps that I usually do while it was super sunny all week, this felt absolutely amazing. But in the slick stuff,
And we've driven the Civic countless times in the dry, and we know that it performs very, very well.
But I bet you this all-wheel drive system would crush on the way to a ski hill or something where it's actually snowy with a good set of Continental winter tires.
All right, so let's switch up the cars and drivers and send it back through Cliche Corner.
We're gonna switch up the cars and the drivers? Wouldn't that put us back in the same cars? All right, Jacob, I want you to do a non-brake boost launch first, just so you can see how bad it actually is.
Sport mode launch? Oh my God. Yeah, there was definitely a huge delay off the line. Then it was fine.
Now do a brake boost.
Here we go. Oh yeah, way better. That's not bad at all. Totally adequate power.
And I hope the Civic does a little bit of whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, nothing. Oh, changing fake gears. Pretty all right launch in the Civic.
Very comparable powertrains, even though the Mazda does have technically more power on paper, but the all-wheel drive system adds extra weight.
All right, so Jacob, place your bets. Am I sliding or am I gripping?
All right, let's see that Civic over the bump. Well, that's nice. A little bit stiffer in this Mazda for sure.
Pretty nice, yeah.
And, oh yeah, turn-in's pretty good today. Right now?
I think it's dried out enough that we can actually rip through here.
Yeah, but you are ripping through there and I am, oh, you're...
Yeah,
we're both kind of understeering and oversteering here and there, so... I mean,
That's
honestly,
all
right now, this all-wheel drive system does not feel like it has that much of an advantage over that Civic, like almost none.
No, not in this, but, you know.
It is surprising to me. I kind of expected a lot from a Mazda all-wheel drive system.
But remember the Taos had better handling than the CX-5 when we reviewed them? I feel like it's not that good.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Here and there, Mazda, what are you guys doing over there? G-vectoring?
You know what, though? They got this little cool car with 2 doors, and it's a convertible called Miata or something. they got that thing pretty dialed.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah, they actually recently updated that too.
All right, my dude, I know you like to throw something in at the end. What's the towing?
If you're in Quebec.
All right, with all that, I think it's time we get to the price.
The Civic comes in at $34,500.
Canadian.
And this Mazda equipped with all-wheel drive is $35,000, a difference of only $500.
Well, that seems like a no-brainer with all the extra options in the Mazda, unless, however, you just needed more room because you were taller.
For that reason alone, I am Team Civic on this one because I feel like I'm very cramped in this interior. I like having extra space and not having to really pay extra for it. Although Mazda does provide a lot of value with having an all-wheel drive system, because I know a lot of people feel like they need one, even though we don't really feel like you need one.
And then the wild thing is, they both have hatch versions. I feel like the Mazda 3 hatch is way smaller, way more cramped in every way, but the Civic hatch makes it compete with like an SUV because you have so much more room in the back. Like when I bought my CX-5, I was cross-shopping that with a Civic hatch.
Yeah, and that's pretty wild. So if you are cross-shopping any of those, we encourage you to go to tsp.truecar.com. But for this comparison, I'm going with Team Civic in sedan form.
Since I'm 5'8", I'm going Team Mazda 3. I love the infotainment. I love the 360 camera, and the all-wheel drive is a cool bonus feature.
But if this was a hatch comparison, we're both Team Civic?
Most likely. I think most likely.
So let us know which one you guys would pick. Is this comparison as close as you thought it would be?
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.